So we are actually studying them. The cult that they're designing at the top by Lucifer's people. It's AI versus Prophet Hanna, Lucifer versus Prophet Hanna, in one of the most lethal showdowns that took 25 years to maneuver through. So in a normal city, there's people, and in that city, there's about 10 people, which are the laborers, for one person living in a city dwelling. That person becomes the victim. By the time they hit a particular age, they look at their statistical forms. They roll the dice. It's either cancer or heart attack, and they give it to the person. And if it's a professional, they whack them off by the time they hit 50. If if they've lived a lavish life, they might double your kid, or there's 10 of them per one person. This is what they're designing and how lethal it is. In Prophet Hannah's case, over the course of 25 years, forget about the 10, she maneuvered through thousands of men. She was able to maneuver through thousands of men. And even though she survived death, they're still at it 15 years later. It's not one person anymore. We are talking a few million people now. And she's maneuvering through that. So as a woman finishes reproduction, by the time they hit 40, they have a commodity list. This is really marks. So makes Hanna know it's probably the guy in Poland. Very, very marks. Okay, they had 10 trips. They had 3 lovers. It's at least like they think about it in terms of a commodity. There's a problem though. And the problem is, if you're not aware, you want to get the max of it. You want to be able to manage your highs and lows. There's another problem. If you maneuver through 1 million people because you got lucky, then they start bullying. And that's when 1 million people are on a remote control, and for them it's entertainment. For you, it's David versus Goliath. So as Hanna took the chalk around the zone of Hannon, she's saying, "Dear God, dear journal, please let me finish." Because that's really primitive. But for them, it's entertainment. For Hanna, it's if she had a whip, she probably beat the fuck out of all of them. Because it's too abusive to women. It's too abusive to men. Because they're also forcing men man-on-man sex. It's a force thing now. Because it's a reproductive thing. It's very primitive. I don't think anybody has had the balls to tell these men, you're managing very primitive. So when the Sun collection was made, everybody was so happy. They whacked off millions of people. And you don't even know. You're just living in your little town, and you don't even know how watched you are. How many times they come into your home and try to regulate the resources. Nothing personal. I'd rather live in an empty house with 0 resources as long as somebody doesn't come in. Scandal after scandal as this information comes out. To make matters worse, women are sensitive towards their men. You make love, you have a child. Next thing you know, it's some man in Bangladesh's kid. That's not funny. It was acts of terrorism, and it's part of C3's history. In the future, you will be mortified by what information Hanna released. But she's not releasing it because she's just a social advocate who wants to bitch about it. She's releasing it to create a case to let her finish. So on about Uber alone, when you're looking at it, is easy $100 billion or whatever case may be. And that's money laundering in there. Because I don't think an app can produce that much money. But either way, whatever the amount is, 4.5% belongs to Hanna. Just that is millions of dollars. And what did they do? They gave purposely all of Canada money, and they gave Hanna $2.49. She had to sell her home. She had to sell her car. What did she do? She put a lien on Markham. What did they do? They brought in more of those millions of video guys. And they sit around the perimeter of Hanna. And these are Lucifer's people. And they're mad as fuck that I ruined their goddess flying on top of the mountain to land on the suffering man's cock. But there's a reason Hannah's doing that. She doesn't want her son suffering. She saw them sit out in the cold for 15 years in conflict. And as the new guys came in, and they didn't even know, they're enchilada. They just brought like a new set of kids and they said, Hanna, reenact, yay! And Hannah's like, I'm not reenacting anything. You better be on your own. You better go to Texas or wherever the hell you're from. Nobody's reenacting nothing. You know, as Belleville sits there with the remote control and as Kingston sits there with the remote control, they're waiting for that suffering goddess, to fly over that mount and land on the men's cock so they can have husband and wife and read Christian books. It doesn't work like that, honey. If this is not a blessing, I don't know what is. Because there's a person on this earth that can make such a difference. But if I give it to them, they're going to whack me off. And then there's the gossip about what's in me. As medical doctors were abused, there's a rumor that everybody's bounded to me, and when I go, they're all going to go. It's the way they set up they screwed them up in their own game, being a wolf following Hanna. My God, please let this be a joke. So they're all having fun and they're traveling. Good for them. But we are positive about things. There's no doctors, blessed. Well, there's nobody to take you to the other side unless we do it through boat. And apparently some boats were sunk. I don't find that funny. But it's based off a true story. And only faith can resolve the rest of it. I could be working for absolutely nothing at this point. Again, it's faith, another entry.